So this guy, we had him on our team. He had some injury issues with us, but when he was healthy, he was insane. So he usually played slot corner for us. His first year as a rookie, he had 6 interceptions. He started 7 games. And then his next year, he only was there for 3 games injured. Year after that, he was there for 16 games, only started 1. We let him go, even though he flashed potential. And then he popped off on the Chargers.
Yeah.
Went to 2 Pro Bowls, looked really, really good. He hasn't been as good as he was like in his prime the last few years, but he's still been a solid corner. Maybe he's lost half a step, you could say. But what are your thoughts on rekindling the relationship with Casey Hayward, bringing him back into our secondary?
I would love it because obviously I've already said I want more secondary for the Packers. I like what we got, but we need one more guy, and this qualifies as the guy. And if we brought in Casey Hayward, we could move Shannon Sullivan to like our secondary nickel.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so yeah, as you said, right when he left the Packers, it was his next 2 years. He was a Pro Bowler. So, that kind of sucked for us, but
Yeah.
it is what it is. He did good. And he has 9 years he's been in the league now. A couple of those years he was injured. 1 year he didn't play 3 games, but he has 23 career interceptions, which is a lot of interceptions. That's really good. That means he's being consistent most of the time. And I think he can get some picks for us. He can definitely cause commotion back there. And yeah, I really want to get Casey Hayward. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm all aboard this train. So he would be 32. So he's on the wrong side of 30, but with the positive of that is that I don't think he would be super expensive. Like, especially in the market, we've seen most corners, like the top end corners, are going for above 10. But those are guys getting their first contract off of being rookies. So they're like supposed to be entering their prime.
They're not 32 years old.
Exactly. They're like 26, 27, maybe 28 at the latest. So they're like, this is their biggest contract they're getting, and they're in their prime. I think Hayward, if we could move him back to nickel, would be sick. But also, we know King has history with being injured. And Hayward would not be the worst guy where, okay, say Kevin King gets injured. Hayward, we had you in the slot, but we can push you back outside. Like that
I think he'd do fine.
Would be awesome. Mm-hmm. And then if they also maybe wanted to transition him to more of like a safety role. So we know like Will Redmond was a guy who was getting snaps as a safety in the playoffs and during the regular season. I know they had Raven Green as like the inside linebacker guy, but like Will Redmond was like the third safety in like a dime package or a quarters package. If they wanted Hayward to play maybe that role too, and he was maybe not in as much, but overall, like just the versatility he would add would be insane. And I don't think he would be that much. Like he could get a deal similar to Kevin King, hopefully.
I think he's 4 to 6 mil, honestly.
Yeah. Like
I really don't think he's more than 6 mil. He might even be less.
Yeah, he really might be. And salary cap would be kind of the issue because we don't really have much money. We signed Aaron Jones. We signed Mercedes Lewis, Kevin King. But there's still a way we can create some cap.
There is.
Restructuring Aaron Rodgers. I believe they can extend Zadarius and Devontae Adams and save maybe it's next year they would save money, but there's still ways they can get around like restructuring to create some cap space. If they wanted to do void years like they did for King, where they're kind of like, all right, we know the cap's going to explode in the next few years when stadiums come back. There's another game. There's a 17th.
They did just add a 17th game. They did.
So basically, the NFL is saying like, all right, we're going to have a lot more revenue. And they can push that down the road and say, all right, we have a really good team now. Casey Hayward would be a pretty huge addition. Now, I'm not saying Casey Hayward's like this great cornerback that he once was. I don't think he is.
He's past his prime.
Yeah, but he'd still be a really solid number 2, and he'd be a great number 3 in my mind. And I guess he would have some familiarity with our team. It's been a few years, but Rodgers was on the team then. There's still other guys that were on the team in his last year, which was 2015 with us. So there would be that familiarity, and I don't know. I think he would be an awesome addition. Again, not that expensive.
Yeah.
And it would
Which is what we're going for right now.
Yeah, we can't really break the bank for these like young guys that want huge contracts. And I think too it would help with the draft in the sense that maybe they wouldn't have to take a first or second rounder or a third rounder on a corner, and they could maybe say, all right, we like this guy in the fifth or sixth round that we want to develop for a couple years.
Yeah, someone who's not coming in right away. Someone who's going to sit a couple of years, learn the new system, and then come in when they're ready.
Yeah, maybe they're just like an athletic specimen and not the most technically sound. They can just learn behind them and not be forced to get too many snaps. Whereas if they did take a guy in the first or second or third round, like that guy would probably have higher expectations and, get more reps in that sense. So that way we could focus more on O-line, D-line, receiver, other positions of need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so obviously we're both on the same page. Bring Casey Hayward back for cheap would be phenomenal for the Green Bay Packers. It's another weapon in that secondary that's already solid, and that could be what gets us over that hump that we've been stuck on the next 2 years. Mm-hmm. That could be the piece right there. We're looking for that piece, and maybe that's it.
Come back. Please. You can blame it on Ted Thompson that we didn't sign you. Please. But that's going to wrap up this episode of our Packers Weekly discussion. Make sure to drop a comment what you think about the Kevin King signing. Should we draft Rondale Moore? And then should we bring back Casey Hayward? Maybe form a solid, an even better secondary than I think we already have. But